Hello and welcome to News Now. Here are some stories we are tracking at this hour. I am Margaret Opera. Recuperating Vice President Yemi Osinbajo on Wednesday virtually attended the Federal Executive Council meeting presided over by the President Muhammadu Buhari at the Presidential Villa, Abuja. The Vice President underwent a surgical operation on July 16 at the Dorchester International Hospital, Ikeja, Lagos. Spokesperson for Osinbajo, Laolu Akonde, had in a statement on July 25 said that the Vice President had been discharged from the hospital after a successful surgery and rehabilitation. The Vice President had, after his discharge from the hospital, expressed appreciation to Nigerians for their good wishes. The Chief of Air Marshal Oludayo Amao has directed Nigerian Air Force operational commanders in various operation theaters across the country to show no mercy to terrorists. The Air Chief was quoted to have stated this in a statement on Wednesday by the Director of Public Relations and Information, Air Commander Edward Bakwet, during a visit to air officers commanding and air component commanders at the Nigerian Air Force base in Kaduna on Tuesday. He also ordered them to ensure they employ maximum firepower against terrorists posing security threats in the country, urging them to effectively allocate and utilize all Nigerian Air Force platforms deployed for operations in the Northwest and North Central for enhanced operational effectiveness. These, according to him, would deny the terrorist freedom of movement while boosting the populace confidence on the service. The Inspector General of Police, Osman Baba, is currently meeting with all commissioners of police and other senior officers in the country. It was gathered that the meeting was a result of the rising insecurity in the country. It was gathered that strategies to mitigate the scourge are top of the agenda. Also, documentation and streamlining of the operations of commercial motorcycle and tricycle riders across the country will be discussed. Now, away from that, suspected terrorists have attacked the convoy of the Assistant Inspector General of Police Zone 12 with headquarters in Bauchi, Audu, Madaki, enjoining him and killing one of his police guards. Although the reports are still sketchy as of the time of filing this report, it was learned that the AIG was on his way to Abuja from Bauchi when the suspected terrorists ambushed and attacked him. The incident was said to have happened between Bade and Jigindi area in Kaduna State on Tuesday about 2:30 p.m. A source at the Zone 12 headquarters narrated that AIG Audu Madaki was shot at and injured during the attack while his orderly was shot dead. The AIG is said to be receiving treatment at an undisclosed hospital while security has been beefed up around the zone. Another source revealed that armed police personnel had been drafted to the area to comb the bush in order to fish out the terrorists. Now, the Oyo State Police Command says all 147 passengers stopped at Bodija Market were farmers and traders going to Ogere in Ogun State. Contrary to speculations, they were terrorists. A statement by Oyo Police spokesman Adewale Osifesho said the truck and its passengers were later escorted out and handed over to security personnel in Ogun State. He clarified the travelers in the blue Iveco truck BWR 143XD, driven by Abdullahi Aliyu, 30 years old, came from Namuda, Zamfara State, to continue their enterprise in Ogere, Ogun State. He also said a team of police, DSS and Amoteco operatives thoroughly searched the truck to rule out any chances that it had been used to transport inmates who escaped from correctional centers. 8 motorcycles, bin bags and onion meant to be dropped off with their owners at Bodija Markets were discovered during the search. Now, the National Orientation Agency NOA has expressed willingness to work with citizens at the grassroots by partnering with National Population Commission (NPC) in raising awareness for the 2023 population and housing census. The Director General of NOA, Dr. Garba Bari, stated this when he paid a courtesy visit to the Executive Chairman of NPC, Nasir Issa Kwara, in Abuja. NPC scheduled April 2023 for the conduct of the first digital population and housing census in Nigeria. And more story, Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Boss Mustafa, has expressed optimism that the Economic Staff Union of Universities, ASU, would soon call off its over 5-month strike to allow students return to schools. Mustafa stated this when the president of the National Council of Women's Society, NCWS, Hajia Lamilao, led members of the Women in National Service WINSERV Week Implementation Committee to visit him in his Abuja office. He also urged Nigerians to show concern on the current security challenges bedeviling the country. He said insecurity is a thing of concern since all Nigerians are affected. Now on the Africa scene, carrying candles, singing and displaying a Congolese flag on the floor, members of different social movements and politicians remembered the 36 people who died in the last few days during protests against the United Nations mission in the country, MONUSCO. The group has demanded justice be applied in and outside Congo against those who killed the protesters. And in Burkina Faso's army said on Wednesday that it had accidentally killed civilians during a counter-terrorist operation in the country's southeast earlier this week, without saying how many. Residents of the area said that as many as 37 people were killed in the strike on Monday near the village of Bognois, about 10 kilometers from the border with Togo, where some fled afterwards. The West African country has been battling an insurgency by Islamic militant groups, some linked to Al-Qaeda and Islamic State, which controls large swaths of territories and wage frequent attacks. Burkina Faso in June ordered civilians to evacuate 2 large areas in its northern and southeastern regions ahead of anticipated operations against Islamist militants. The strike that hit civilians on Monday were outside one of those zones. The Democratic Republic of Congo has asked the UN spokesman peacekeeping mission MONUSCO to leave the country, blaming him for stoking tensions that led to deadly protests last week. 36 people, including 4 UN peacekeepers, were killed last week as hundreds of protesters vandalized and set fire to UN buildings in several cities in Congo's east. Civilians accused the mission, which has been active for more than a decade, of failing to protect them from military violence that has long plagued the region. The government said that a spokesman, Matthias Gunmen, had made indelicate and inappropriate statements which contributed to the tensions between the population and MONUSCO. The Congolese government also said this week that it would release the mission's withdrawal plans in light of the protests, a decision which MONUSCO said it supported. And on the foreign scene, the Senate is set to ratify NATO membership for Finland and Sweden, a crucial step towards swiftly expanding the Western military alliance with a show of U.S. support in response to Russia's war with Ukraine. Senators have invited the ambassadors of the countries to witness Wednesday's historic debates and votes, which would open a new era for North Atlantic Treaty Organization. President Joe Biden has sought quick entry for 2 previously non-military aligned Northern European allies and approved a ratification resolution has vast bipartisan support in Congress. NATO's 30 member countries are in the process of considering the addition after Sweden and Finland set aside their long-standing stance of military non-alignment. It was a major shift of security arrangements for the 2 countries after neighboring Russia launched its war on Ukraine earlier this year. Now, top leaders of Afghanistan's Taliban were holding discussions on Wednesday about how to respond to a U.S. drone strike in Kabul that the United States had said killed Al-Qaeda leader Ayman al-Zawahiri, 3 sources said in the group. The United States killed Zawahiri with a missile fired from a drone while he stood on a balcony at his Kabul hideout on Sunday. U.S. officials said the biggest blow to the militant since Osama bin Laden was shot dead more than a decade ago. The Taliban have not confirmed Zawahiri's death. Officials of the Islamist group, longtime allies of Al-Qaeda, initially confirmed the Sunday drone strike but said the house that was hit was empty.